Excellent. All right. Perfect timing. My coffee just arrived here at Don Roger Restaurante Don Roger. The coffee is here just as the live goes, so it's gonna be a good one. All right. So today we were coming from live from Restaurante Don Roger, the Mirador, the viewpoint, just outside, overlooking the whale tail. And low tide today was at 2:36 a.m. and it's going to be again this afternoon at 2:57 p.m. But the high tide's about 8:54. So right now we're going to be looking at pretty close to high tide. What time is it here? It's 7:15 here in Costa Rica. So at 8:54 is the actual official high tide. And I've been doing a lot of kayaking lately. I'm part of the Uvita kayak club, and we meet on every Monday. So we do little trips from Playa Ballena, go out for like 3 hours usually. Usually see something. Last week we saw, or this past week I saw a ray actually jump out of the water, which was pretty cool. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, it's a lot of informal chat about Costa Rica, but mostly it's about the view, which I'll turn around for you to see pretty soon. I just want to tell you a few things going on. My latest video was up at my good friend Dainier's coffee plantation, which we'll be doing a lot more videos up there because it's just so cool up there. And it's a video we did. He took me on his four-wheeler and went through the coffee plantation where there was banana trees planted, and there's coffee trees planted among the banana trees. So I guess it's a harmonious planting of bananas and coffee do well together. Apparently, there's quite a few reasons for that, but won't get into that. And also, the coffee blossoms are going to be blooming up there, and I want to get up there and videotape that because it's, as I understand, it's a pretty cool thing. I can hear all the bees running around, but it's just the blossoms are really cool and the smells really cool. And I missed the last one, so I definitely want to get that on video. I usually make a list of things I wanted to get up, cover, but if you've never seen the video I did of this restaurant, I've done like a basic coverage of what it's like up here, and that's linked down in the description. I've got a lot of things linked down in the description if you want to check any of that stuff out. And if you're just let me know what your weather is there. I always enjoy seeing what's going on and weather-wise in the world. I know back in my former state of New York State, back in the United States, that they've got quite a bit of snow. My sister in Vermont said it was like concrete. So here it's nice. We've actually started to get some rain here finally, and I like it. But a lot of people are nervous because they're afraid the rainy season started already. But I don't know. It's nice that the roads aren't quite as dirty and dusty. I've got a new little friend here. It's like a little, I don't know if she's a poodle. She's resting her little head on my foot, little puppy. All right, so I'm going to throw you out without further ado, out to the view. That's why we're all here. Enjoy the vista. Well, one thing I want to talk. The internet in Uvita and surrounding areas have been really, really bad lately. We've had a lot of power outages, and the internet's been pretty sporadic where I am. And if you're watching this and your feed isn't that good, sometimes logging in and out of YouTube helps. Sometimes it doesn't. But keep in mind this here in Costa Rica that the internet sometimes is not as robust as you may be used to in the United States or Europe or wherever else you may be coming. And if you are tuning in, let me know if you have any decent quality of your video feed here, or if it is a problem. Last week I tried to do video live from up at Cafe Don Emilio on my phone, but they were having internet problems then too, so that didn't go as planned. Buenos dias, Michael. You have snow on your deck this morning? Oh, that's good. So you're going to be back in Costa Rica in the fall, you said? This year has gone by fast already. We're already well into March. I can't believe it's late into 2023. I'm still not used to saying 2022. So I learned an expensive mistake this week with my paddle boards. I have two paddle boards that they were really expensive, and I went all the way up to Playa Punta Arenas to get them. And it was an overnight trip because I didn't want to do the drive all in one go that day. Plus, I actually wanted to see that area. But so I got the two paddle boards, and they're 12 foot long. They're a little bit bulky. It's tough to find a place for them, but I had a good place underneath the stairs on the shady side of my house, my apartment. And the problem was they were right under the stairs, and they were doing some work over there, so I had to move them. So I moved them to the front of my house, which gets a lot more sun. But I had it covered. I bought a tarp especially to cover them, to protect them from the sun. But the problem wasn't the UV rays, it was the heat. And what happened was both of the paddle boards ended up warping on top. So I've got to see if I can get them fixed, because that was a huge investment. I'm kicking myself for never underestimate. Lesson learned there: never estimate. Muchas gracias. Hey, we've got our breakfast here already. I've gotten so I really like the pancakes here. So I'm not on the typical, but it's pretty delicious. Oh, so apparently the videos coming in and out. Well, we do the best we can. Like last time I was broadcasting from here saying, well, do you do a speed test before you go? It's like, well, no, but I mean, what option do I have? If I do a speed test and I can't, and it's low, what do I do? So what I have to do, it's Costa Rica. You have to go with the cards that are dealt. Sometimes it's good internet, sometimes it's not. It just depends on the day, and it can be from now to 5 minutes from now that can it can be a little different. So you need to have a little patience. But yeah, one more look at my this even though it's lost a piece of watermelon. So you're at Cafe. No, almost said. We're here at Restaurante Don Roger. I'm so used to promoting my friend Dan here. What's going on with the doctor? Hopefully just a checkup, right? Buenos dias, Pete. And Pete, just to be one step ahead of you, I have not checked the speed here. I know it's slow. That's what I'll tell you. But it's faster than it was at Cafe Don Emilio last Thursday. Welcome to Costa Rica, Pete. Hey, how's the electricity and internet been up in your area? Here in the Uvita area, the electricity has been going out constantly, and the internet's been a little off its game. I know it's inching towards rainy season, and it makes the sky a little bit more interesting. I think I love the clouds. This would have been a good day to do a time lapse. I think by the end of the broadcast, the clouds are going to be a lot different than they are right now. Well, it's not too live. It's not too slow for a live stream. It's too slow for a reliable live stream. So I'm I'm on Costa Rica rules, which is you get you get your hand and you play it the best you can. Because if I was to not do a broadcast because it was not up to standards of what a live stream should be, I wouldn't be broadcasting. So we do the best we can. That's what we're doing. Well, that's tough when you have to go in and maintenance on your body. It's like always your most important piece of equipment. You got all your camera stuff and all your vehicles, but you got to keep that body running too. Thanks for the suggestion, Pete. So yeah, I've actually been welcoming of the rain that we've been getting lately. Señor Dan, ¿cómo estás? Well, I think if I want to find a place with better internet, Pete, I'm going to have to come to your house. Give me get a pot of coffee, brew, and I'll be right up there, and we'll broadcast from there. Do you have a view where you are? Well, good luck, Dirk. Hope the doctor gives you a lollipop. That's what they used to do back in the States. They used to get, when you were a kid, they'd give you a lollipop and you went to the doctor. So, Don, you're tired and stiff. What have you been up to? I'm working on a whole new set of, um, of muscles, doing a sea kayaking with a kayak club, the Uvita Kayak Club. I'm getting a lot more comfortable out in the ocean now, and I'm just I'm trying to get my wave riding skills in. I have a knack for being able to have a large dramatic wipeout, even on the smallest of waves. I have fun. I have fun, but I just wipe out every time I wipe out. People go, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, this is just how I come in." Yeah, I got a friend who has almost the same kind of. From the description, sounds very similar. He's a he lives in the hills above Uvita, and his former wife was an engineer, but he's got a like a relay of some sort going from one thing to another thing. I guess if you put enough thought into it, you can get something reliable. I don't even have reliable cable at home where I am at this point. helping your buddy out with some construction. You told me you were coming here to retire, Don. Oh, I forgot to put my maple syrup on. What am I thinking? Actually, it was honey today. That's why the bees are so happy to be around me. I thought it was maple syrup, but it was actually honey. There's a lot of good honey in this area. Back in the States, I used to keep, I was a hobbyist beekeeper for about 15 years. Yeah, and that's such a good point that you make, Don. I hear a lot of people that are making the move to Costa Rica, and they talk about sitting on a beach with their feet up and with a drink in their hand. But I mean, even if you're retired, that's got to be boring. I think people need a purpose. I know people need a purpose. If you're coming here, no matter what, you need a purpose. Fortunately for me, I'm forced to have to try to make money to survive here. But if a lot of people come here and they've got the retirement and they're set, they can just sit back if they want to. But everybody eventually discovers they need to do something. Whether it's, I know a lot of people do a lot of different volunteering here, but there's opportunity in this area. There's a lot of things happening. And I think that's really important too. What Don is mentioning in the in the chat is there's a lot of touristy things to do here. Oh, there's a beautiful toucan. There's a lot. I'm sorry, I'm so easily distracted. Um, there's a, especially in the Uvita area, there's a lot of the touristy things to do that everybody says, oh, it's on their list of things to do. Like, you go to the whale tail, you go to Ventanas, you go to the falls, go to the different beaches here, go to Playa Arco. But there's a lot of cultural things here too, And I'm going to plug it. My friend Daniere's coffee farm. You go to a coffee farm. You can go to there's chocolate plantations and coffee plantations, chocolate plantations. They actually have a coconut tour here in Uvita to learn about the coconut, which I definitely am interested in that. But I have a friend that does tours about the history of Uvita.
There's a cool little spider. If Dirk was still here, I'd have him identify it because Dirk he's an expert on spiders and the creepy crawly kind of things and wildlife in general. He's done some really good videos of Costa Rica. Dirk's from Germany, but he's got a YouTube channel called Dirk's Wild World. Excellent photographer and videographer, and a really cool guy. So Uvita is it's a kind of a, not a kind of, it's a small community here. My puppies fighting. Stop fighting, puppy. But it's a small community here, so I run into a lot of people I know, and it's a lot of the people I know. Well, there's a sound we don't often hear. Oh, well, I heard an ambulance going by. So easily distracted again. Where was I? Oh, I I get a lot of encounters with people that I I didn't know, but they know me from the channel. So I run into a lot of people. And up at Cafe Don Emilio last Thursday, I ran into a couple that it was so funny because you get that look of recognition and you're, oh my god, I should know them, but I don't remember their face. And they know me, they know my face from the YouTube channel. But I meet so many cool people that way, and it's fun. Because everybody I've met from that's watched the channel are always so positive, very upbeat people. So I don't have, I'm not like one of the huge Costa Rica YouTube channels, but I think without a doubt that the subscriber base for Costa Rica Story is the best of any YouTube channel. I'm not saying that to flatter everybody that's listening, but I mean it's true. My little puppy is barking here. What's one of and the dogs here will eat anything, even even fruit. And how's the feed looking there? It looks okay from my iPad, but I'm not sure how it is out there in the rest of the world. That's the Costa Rica burglar alarm going off. There's a car going by, so the burglar alarm sensors sense the vehicle going by, and the burglar alarm went off. So if you are planning on coming to Costa Rica, you're going to have to get used to probably going to have to get used to barking dogs. But usually, I mean, I like barking dogs when they're serving the purpose of, they see somebody so they bark. But the ones that just go all night long are the ones that aren't good. Unfortunately, there's not many of those around. Usually, if there's a reason for them to bark, and that's a good thing. Oh, thanks, Michael. That's very reassuring to hear. Because I never know if I'm talking to myself or whether it's actually getting out there. So barking dogs are important for security, and I was just reading a recent study that the crime in this area, the Uvita Bahia area, is up 30% from last year. So that's a lot of home robberies and things like that. I think it's crime in general. Oh, Don says Video and audio are really good today. So take that, Pete. Are you still watching, Pete, or did you get frustrated with the quality? Pete's Pete's always telling me I need to get better. I need better Wi-Fi. I need to do some more with better Wi-Fi. But you know, it's like real estate. It's location, location, location. You can have like a beautiful house in the slum somewhere, but if it's got no view, wouldn't I'd rather live in a shack on top of the side of the mountain here where I can see the whale tail. See the analogy I'm making between houses and Wi-Fi quality. I see the whale boats going out, heading out where they look for whales. Oh, buenos dias, Kim. Long time no here. Is the Minnesota area being hammered by the latest snow? Sometimes I'm a day behind in what the weather's doing back in the U.S. Wow, it's like a reunion here. Doug's here too. Buenos dias, Doug. ¿Cómo estás? Oh my God, yeah. You know, Michael's talking about the I did a video up at Cafe Don Emilio where my friend Danier took me up this really, really steep hill on his ATV. You know, we had no helmets, so no safety gear, and I had nothing really to hold on to. So yeah, I actually right in the middle of my back, it was really sore just from bumping against that. Because it was a long ride. It was, I mean, for him, it's just another day at the office. And I was really honored because it's something that I told him. I said, not many gringos get to see this. But I did a video of the actual coffee tour he does. And I told him, I said, well, I probably shouldn't have a video of the whole complete tour because if somebody watched it, they wouldn't need to do the tour. But I mean, doing the tour in person, even if you saw the whole video, would still be good. But I think it's best just to have the video be more of a preview of what it's like to do the coffee tour, which is a very highly rated coffee tour according to TripAdvisor and anybody that's ever been on it. And it's funny because it's really not as much about the coffee tour as about spending time with Danier and his family. And his mother's an exceptional cook. She cooked me this flower. There's this big flower that grows up in the tree, and they break the flower off and they put it in a pan and cook it. They mix it with huevos and different things. I can't remember what exactly was in it, but it was a taste that I'd never had. And I'm really bad with different tastes, but I liked it, and I definitely didn't want to offend her, so I definitely made sure I ate it all. And she made some hot chocolate from the cacao, the natural chocolate. It was so good. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. There's a little bit of overcast, which I love because it gives me that extra sunscreen protection. Yeah, thanks, Kim. I like that because it does show a different side of Costa Rica that a lot of people don't get to see. When I get up there to the plantation, I just feel like I'm in a different world compared to Uvita, because Uvita it is really, I don't know how to put it. It's still a beautiful place, but it's more touristy. I guess that's the only thing I can say. And it's really crowded, and it's more crowded than it was when I first got here, which was only 2 years ago. So we had a really heavy rain last night, but it didn't snow. The snow held off. Yeah. So, yeah, trying to make a left turn from my street onto Route 34. Even earlier than it's tough because there's such a strong traffic flow there. But I've noticed that one thing, and I moved to Costa Rica, whether it's a year ago, 2 years ago, I moved here. So I moved here 2 years ago. So that was my starting point for Costa Rica. That's what Costa Rica was to me, because that's when I came here. That's what it was. And if you came here last year at a certain time, that's probably what Costa Rica is to you. You remember that. It's 20 years ago. You're like, oh yeah, this is the normal Costa Rica, and it's changed since 20 years. But what we gringos don't appreciate is the fact that before any of us gringos were here, there was Costa Rica, and it was different than any of us could possibly imagine. We can only read about in books. There's a really interesting book called The Gringo's Hawk, and it's loosely based on a man's life in this area, and they changed a lot of the names of the towns and things for whatever reason, but you can recognize some of the geographical features that they talk about in the story. So Don says his internet went down. He's in Bahia. So when was your internet down? Was it after the electricity? Yesterday the electricity? No, I forgot what day it was. You know, the electricity likes to go out on the day when I'm planning on uploading a video. It just seems to work out that way. And so the thing with the internet, it seems to me that it does go from good to not as good. Today I tried to sit closer to the modem, but I don't know if that has any effect on anything. So as Don points out, sometimes if you log out of YouTube and log back into YouTube, that helps the video issues. But you know, obviously there's issues because I'm here in Costa Rica and it's not a robust Wi-Fi here at the restaurant. But you know, I've been doing videos here for a long time, and we have our moments of down, but usually it's fairly decent. But I always appreciate the feedback and how things on. I don't think anybody's complaining if they're saying, oh, the internet's not. Well, I'd like to get that feedback to see how we stand. Sometimes I can tell by watching the number of people watching go from like 15 down to 1. Say, oh, the transmission must be off. So over the course of I'm usually here an hour and a half or so. There will be variations. So if this is your first time watching the live broadcast here from Don Roger, today the low tide was this morning at 2:36 a.m. And high tide is just about now. High tide is like in about an hour. It's 8:54 is high tide. And high tide conceals the whale tail out there a little bit. Well, completely actually. And low tide is at 2:57 p.m. You get two low tides in the day. We got like 6-hour cycles that we go through with the tide. So, fun fact about the whale tail. Maybe you know this or maybe you don't. But if the whale tail, if the tide has made it so the part of the whale tail is covered and you're wading out in the water out there, which you can do to a certain point. A lot of times, if you're in bare feet, you end up walking on rocks that will hurt your feet. I mean, you can physically make it to the whale tail end, but when the tide comes back in, it washes a lot of that sand away, and that makes it tough to walk. But when the tide goes back out, the sand all gets piled back on there for a nice cushiony walk from one end of the whale tail to the other. And Senior Don can attest to that. He's been out there and had that issue wading out through the water, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, what am I standing on? Unless, of course, you're one of those surfers that walks around barefoot all the time with the really leather tough feet. There's some people that can walk on anything; it doesn't bother them. I'm not one of them. I like to have some protection on my feet. I'm not that tough. Well, so if this is your first time, I've got a video about this restaurant linked down below, as well as many other interesting things, including my last few videos. You give those a look. And if you're enjoying the broadcast, a like would be appreciated. Because as any YouTube producer will tell you, the algorithm hates me. So if you comments help, and booping the like button always helps. So I've got my my drone on standby and all my camera's battery charged, waiting for word from Danier about the coffee blossoms going on. Because I missed the last time they blossomed, I missed it. So I definitely want to get up and check it out. Because he's telling me it's a really one of the most beautiful times of year up there. And I think the coffee blossoms blossom twice a year. And that's one interesting thing that I've coming from the Northeast United States is there's things blossom. Some things, depending on the species of plant, blossom several times a year. There's an apple tree. It's a different kind of an apple. These are really tiny apples right in front of my house that have fruit on them now, and I think they have fruit 3 cycles during the year. And the monkeys like this fruit, and the squirrels like the fruit. The squirrels were right after this morning. Well, 96 more to go. What's that? I forgot what I was talking about. And I've been going out with the Uvita Kayak Club on Mondays lately, and it's been a blast. But there's one thing I missed the one time they went out to, there's an island chain called Three Sisters. It's just these 3 little islands offshore. And at low tide and calm water, you can paddle inside a cave out there. And I missed that day, so I'm a little bummed about that. But they'll be doing it again. So, but that's on my bucket list of things to do. Kayak Club does something different usually every week. Sometimes they paddle up to Playa Arco from Playa Ballena. Usually we start at Playa Ballena. But that's a good way to see Playa Arco, is a little kayak tour. Or you could walk. But it's more fun coming in the kayak. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I got to keep my eye on the prize there, Don. Yeah, I'm only I've got 198 more to make it to 1,000 subscribers and be an officially legitimate YouTube channel. I'm sure it's going to be anticlimactic when I finally reach 1,000, but I really thought I would be at 1,000 sooner based on some of the other channels. But as I say repeatedly on this channel, I've got high quality subscribers here because I meet you guys all the time, whether it be at the farmer's market or in the middle of the jungle somewhere, and it's always so much fun because it's like we get it. We're the people that get it. I hate to sound arrogant on all our behalfs, but we all seem to have similar mindsets, I think. All right, Doug, thanks for checking in. I'm glad that you're not always working. Seems like you're always on that long shift. So we got a dump truck with a load of sand going up the hill next door. And that's one thing you get used to in this area of Costa Rica is there's constant construction everywhere. Mostly, I'm speaking of like houses and things being built, but of course the roads are always being worked on also. With the sounds of saws and just general construction noise is pretty common anywhere you go. So the sounds of Costa Rica may be different than what you expect. I know it was different for me because I do live close to town, and when I first came here, I was expecting to. I don't know. I was thinking in like more of an African jungle. I think I don't know why I was thinking that. And it depends on where you move. You can move in a remote area, and maybe it will be more like only jungle sounds. But where I am, I get there's a ton of roosters. You hear a lot of roosters, and in the morning there'll be the weed eaters and construction sounds, and of course there's always traffic on Route 34. But you learn to adapt, and you learn it's part of the natural sounds of the area as it is now. 20 years ago it was probably different. 40 years ago, I'm sure it was quite different. Buenos dias, my voice coming from beautiful Bermuda. Yeah, James, I love the bird sounds. I just wish I could identify what bird was what. I hear so many different sounds. I was house sitting for a friend who had to go away for like a day, and in the middle of the night there was this screaming sound. I'm not sure what it was, but they told me there's a bird that makes a sound like that they've seen up there. So it's a whole new set of species that we are exposed to here, especially coming from the cooler climates of northeastern New York. So how's the weather in Bermuda? Yeah. You wonder why I can't speak Spanish. I can't even speak English. So does Bermuda have a rainy season, or are they not subject to that? The rainy, dry season. Yeah, I would never, in my past life, I would never think of 60 as cold. But yeah, to me, it would be cold to go outside and have it 60. I haven't been back to the States in a while. Last time I went, it was summer. I went back in October in 2021. But it seems that the days of the bargain fare, our airfare, are no longer with us. I flew to New York City for just a little over $200. It was about 230 was the basic fare round trip from San Jose to New York City, and it was a couple of years ago when I bought the ticket. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. But there's a few things I'd like to take care of back in the States. I'd like to take a trip back, but I need the prices to get down to a reasonable level. Wow, frost on the ground. Are the iguanas falling out of the tree in Florida again? I know that happens occasionally. It's funny how every place has got their different seasons. I'm still not adjusted to what the seasons here are yet. But I'm smelling a really, really beautiful flower right now. I don't know where it's coming from. The breeze just brought it in. It's just, I wish I had smell-o-vision here so you could smell the beautiful fragrance just out of nowhere. Maybe it's the butterfly bush. I don't know. I had a butterfly bush back in upstate New York, but one winter it just got killed by the frost. About a cold, it was just a cold winter. Yeah, the price of airline tickets are really high, and for me, it's hard to find a flight without a ridiculous layover. And I think the airlines are crowded now more than ever. But one thing I learned a couple of flights ago was just to make sure to wear something warm, because I think the first time I flew back to the U.S. from Costa Rica, I had shorts and a tank top on, and I nearly froze to death, starting with San Jose Airport, because I got there early and I was waiting for my plane a few hours there, and the air conditioning was just so intense. But the airplanes are usually chilly, and then like other airports are cold, especially if you're sitting and waiting around and not moving. And you can hear the national bird of Costa Rica, the weed eater, out in the distance. Of course, that's a joke. It's a broma. Una broma. That's a joke. That's my lame humor. We have a couple beautiful vultures down in the tree down below. I don't know if you can see them. If you look at the cactus that's in the shadow, right, just to the left of those, there's two dark shapes in the tree, and those are the vultures. And another thing about the vultures, I've said this before, I'm a fan of the vultures because they're such an important part of the circle of life here. They take care of all the dead animals that would otherwise be around and be stinky. But there's a lot of people that disrespect them. And for instance, if they're on the beach, they think it's funny if their dogs go chase the vultures, and it isn't cool. They should be respected as any other creature. Just because they do the dirty work doesn't mean that they shouldn't be respected. I mean, they really are beautiful birds in certain angles. I mean, in flight especially. In flight, they're definitely beautiful. But even close up, they've got their qualities that make you admire them. Got one flying right towards the camera and must know I'm talking about them. Yeah, I got my car. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and it was in San Isidro, which is like an hour away from me. It's my Grand Vitara 2008. And I like the car a lot, but it's got an issue right now. I'm not sure what the problem is, but this has happened to me 3 different times, and twice has been when I go to my friend Daniere's plantation, which is a very steep road, very windy road, and a lot of it, like the last stretch for quite a while, you're in first gear going up hills. And then when I get to the top, I'm the kind of person that always likes to back in. So I get to the top and I go to throw it into reverse. It's a manual transmission, 5-speed, and it won't go into reverse. But then after it cools down, I can get it into reverse. So I've had that happen at least 3 separate times, and I have no idea what that is. I just started Googling that today. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, so I'm probably not giving it the attention it should have, because if you can't get your car into reverse and you need to go backwards, you can find yourself trapped. And of course, you have to get a car lawyer just for the red tape of all that stuff when you buy a car here. But if you do buy a car here, the chances are high that the mileage may be actually more than what is on the odometer, because it's a really common thing for the odometers to get spun back. And I base this on my own experience and what a lot of mechanics have told me. My most blatant experience with this was I was looking at an Xterra. That was my dream car, but yeah, so many mechanics talked me out of it, and I ended up not getting this one in particular because it had, like, I thought it had 175,000 kilometers, but then it turns out it was 175,000 miles. And I said to the guy, "Oh no, that's way too much." He goes, "Well, if the mileage is too much, we can just, we can turn that back. That's not a problem." I'm like, what? It's like, it was just a matter of fact thing to him. I guess he didn't understand the concept of it doesn't make the car lose all the wear and tear that those miles brought with it. I mean, I'm sure without the resale value, but just the fact that he would say that, I'm like, it's a whole different ball game here buying a car. I think that might be I know it's a crime in states to do that. I don't know if it's a felony or not. It might be a felony to turn back the odometer. I know it's very taboo. Yeah, calculating the shipping and the tax on your car it's I think it can be complicated. I was talking to, when I first moved here, there's a company called Get It Here Jerry, and I was talking to the owner of Get It Here Jerry, and he was saying there's a sweet spot as far as when a car is worth shipping. It's you don't want something brand new, and you don't want something that's really old. You want something in the middle. There's like a certain age range where you can actually ship a car and make a profit by selling it here. But you have to know what the values are and things. But I could see if I had a vehicle that I really liked, I would definitely want to try to bring it if possible, even if it did cost you a little bit. As long as it was a good Costa Rica car. I mean, you wouldn't want like a low rider or something. But if I had a really nice like Toyota 4Runner or something, it would be nice to have it brought here. But between the tax and shipping, it might kill you. And I actually did have some fun with some of my car shopping, just haggling with people and looking at cars. But the worst part about my car buying experience was when I first started, because I thought I was going to go up towards San Jose and look at cars up there because there's so many more. But I don't know that area well, and I ended up on the freeway and off the freeway a bunch of times. And that driving up there to San Jose is not for me. Give me a steep dirt road anytime compared to that crazy traffic that merges so quick. And yeah, I had a few close calls. I was in a rent-a-car. I had a Toyota Fortuner diesel, and it had a really powerful engine, so that saved me a couple times because I needed to accelerate and to keep myself from getting crushed by a truck. Oh, Don, that's good that you're after the right coffee. I can fix you up. I usually have a spare bag of Cafe Don Emilio on hand. Yeah, look, 2000. There's got to be a way you can calculate what the taxes would be. You can talk to the guys from GetItHereJerry.com. That's GetItHereJerry.com. They might be able to give you some advice on that. They're right here in Uvita. But I'm a little miffed with them because I contacted them about a week ago, and they haven't got back to me because I had some clients I might refer to them, but if they don't reply in a timely manner, I'm not gonna refer anybody to them. And it could have been a lot of times things just get overlooked. So I'm just gonna give them another message, or maybe I'll stop in and talk to them. But Get It Here Jerry moved a pallet for me of my computer table, computer monitors, a bunch of things like that. I'd like to do a video on Get It Here Jerry, but if they're not going to be better in the customer service, they're not going to get any promotion from me. Yeah, I saw that they passed the law. Now it's really complicated here because they pass a law and then it has to get ratified or something. Did it get to the process where it was ratified? I know that the process is so much different than it is in the States. I don't know. Yeah, and I think with that, it's like you get a you can do like one car maybe. I haven't kept up on that because I've already got my car here, and I definitely don't need any furniture. I don't need any more stuff. So last Saturday, Daniel wasn't there. Juan Carlos was there. What kind of coffee did you drink? Whole bean dark or medium roast? We were talking about how Daniel felt betrayed because you weren't buying any coffee from him anymore. I said you were probably traveling to Panama to get your coffee there. When I see your friend that does the border runs is doing border runs to Boca del Toro now. So that would be an interesting trip. But they charge quite a bit for that. I was talking to somebody that was doing a border run recently, and they were saying that it was around $500 to go with those guys. Like, what's that get you? What are they paying for other than them helping you at the border? I'm not sure if he was at the conference with Sarah Elena or not. I think she uses a different guy. Because Get Here Jerry's right here in Uvita, but it may have been him. Maybe that's why he didn't get back to me. He's busy with all that conference stuff. And they've got quite a few experts there. It's so interesting seeing Sarah Elena and Michael Allen all in the same, and a lot of those guys all together there. Because Sarah Elena and Michael Allen were probably the two video channels I watched the most when I moved here. I mean, prior to moving here. Well, I thought he was the one that started going to Boca del Toro, but maybe he does. Maybe I misread that. Maybe he's still doing Boca. But you enjoyed the trip, right? It was, and 365 is not too bad for everything that you got with that. You meet some interesting people when you go on a group venture like that. Yeah, with Sarah, she's had so many different houses. It's hard to know where she is. Like, is she in Playa Hermosa near Jaco now? I think she was last time. Heard she was in Jaco itself, and then she moved to Playa Hermosa. That's near Jaco, not the one down here. But I remember when I was watching from the States, she would be all settled in one place, and then it's like situations happen where it was more beneficial for her to move to another place. And I learned a lot about Costa Rica watching that, because it was just a matter of, oh, see, you have to adapt. So by example, I subconsciously took that in as one of the influences in my mindset for coming here. Yeah, I knew she had a lot. She was building to sell too. And that's what she was going to do down in this area at one point. But I think she really likes the area she's in there. I have a friend from my work when I used to be in the States. I worked for a company called Grace Note, and she's from Panama. She's visiting Panama. She just landed in Panama today. I think she's in Panama City as we speak. It's so funny. Somebody that is native to Central America decided to move to North America for a better M before work, and we'd waste our company's time talking over coffee, and we had some great times. Part of the coffee is so important, so it's just a natural to be here. Yeah, everything's okay. Laws in place, but they haven't gone through the process. I wish I spoke Spanish to understand where that, some of the things that go on there. Roger, overlooking the whale tail. We're actually the whale tail is part of Parque Nacional Marino Ballena, a huge tourist attraction here in the Uvita area. And the park got 5 entrances. There's 3 down here near along the beach for Marino Ballena, or for the whale tail, and then there's a couple more to the south, less traveled, but they're all part of the park. But this one beach is connected, and there's 3 entrances. They all have there's a few separate beaches all through there. There's, named differently, but it's all basically one beach. And then that there's 3 entrances for that, and then to the south, it's broken up a little bit, and there's 2 more separate beaches in Wales and Ballena, which are less touristy. Yeah, I think that's right, Don. You do have to be a resident. I don't know if it's permanent resident or if you're in the process. Have a good one, Kim. Watch out for the snow. Buenos dias, James. If you haven't hit the like button, that always helps me to hit the like button on that. And check the description down below. There's a lot of information about things that are going on with the channel with me. Some new things coming up. I'm just about done with the breakfast. I'm getting ready to log off, but make sure if you haven't seen the video about this restaurant to watch it, because this is a really cool place. If you're in the Uvita area, you owe it to yourself to come up here and check out the view. It's one of the easiest drives to get a good view of the whale tail. The road's in great shape for Costa Rica standards, or for any standards really, for a dirt road. And whether it's for breakfast, whether it's for lunch, or you can watch the sunset here. Yeah, I've heard some bad stories about people with possessions that get stuck in customs. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But yeah, my pallet that I got shipped ended up okay. I think I heard Jerry did a good job with that.
But Get It Here Jerry hasn't got back to me. So if you're watching Get It Here Jerry, make sure that you return my email because I could refer some business to you. All right. That's all I've got for this edition of Costa Rica Story Live from here at the Mirador, Restaurante Don Roger. Make sure you whoop the like button if you could, and hit the subscribe if you want to, and hit the notification bell if you want to know everything that's going on. It's not going to jar you or anything. It's just going to give you the notifications. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next Thursday. And I've got a really good video coming up this week, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. All right. I had to say that. Hasta luego.